Minnesotans are feeling more and more divided from each other. We can't understand why our family members, friends, or neighbors support or oppose positions like universal background checks for buying firearms, new oil pipelines, or increased light rail. We are shocked by the way they vote. Holiday gatherings have become tense. Friendships have been lost. We assume that we shared each other's values, but now we're not so sure. At the Minnesota State Office of Collaboration and Dispute Resolution, we know it's possible for people on different sides of an issue to come to understand and respect each other's positions on contentious public issues, to have hard conversation in a way that builds relationships instead of eroding them, and to recognize our many shared values. We know because that's what we do every day. On issues ranging from removal of a local dam to raising the minimum wage to clean water, we bring state, tribal, and local government and stakeholders together to build consensus on a way forward. In our collaborative problem-solving processes, participants engage in a structured dialogue to identify shared values, build trust, gain a deeper understanding of each other's needs and concerns, and develop options that address those needs and concerns. It's not luck that leads to these solutions. It is a thorough process that includes a comprehensive analysis of the issues and stakeholders, co-creation of the process by all stakeholders, and explicit agreements about how the group will operate to help build relationships and consensus. A commitment to integrative problem solving. Rather than compromise, participants agree to find solutions that integrate the most important needs and concerns of everyone involved. A commitment to consensus-based decision-making. A skilled facilitator who understands the science of human relations. And lastly, enough time to enable the process to work. To get a better sense of what collaborative problem-solving is like, let's hear from participants starting with Brian Ulrich and Michael Didenberger of the Child Custody Dialogue Group. We worked with them and many others to resolve a long-standing legislative dispute over how courts should make decisions in child custody cases.
I wanted to try to find a compromise. I wanted to see if there's ability of people with very disparate points of view to be able to come together to try to reach a solution.
Prior to going into the collaboration meetings, I thought the whole idea of collaboration was crazy. We had been in some real extended battles at the state legislature in trying to make legal reforms in family law. What was eye-opening for me was we tended to be so interested in getting our own point across, both sides of this collaborative effort, that we never really did a good job of listening to where there may be some common shared values. And this process allowed that to come out.
You know, if there are other legislative issues where state legislators are at opposite ends of the equation, maybe they could reach a consensus if they have guidance.
Next, we worked with the Forensic Mental Health Program, which is the only secure facility in the state designed to provide treatment for severely mentally ill and dangerous individuals. Following serious injuries to patients and staff and the resulting acrimonious labor management relations, we assisted them in building agreement on how to shift to a more patient-centered approach to care while simultaneously reducing staff injuries. Here's Scott Melby, the Chief Operations Officer.
The facilitators would get managers and staff from all parts of campus all together in a room to talk about their struggles. And once you're sitting across the table and maybe you're disagreeing or you're unhappy about something, but you're constantly working towards something together, it's pretty hard to be angry with each other up close like that. One of the outcomes that came out of that was we were talking to each other. We also have developed some practice and the ability to hear difficult things. So to say it's just one outcome, it's not like we got done and they handed us a paper and they gave us a healthy checkup and then they went on their way. It changed how we do business going forward.
Here are 4 tips to have productive conversations on contentious issues. Tip number 1. Recognize and focus on shared values. While people may hold very different positions on controversial issues, they are often motivated by the same core set of values, such as fairness, dignity, and compassion. In the midst of a difficult issue, remind yourself that the other side isn't bereft of values, but in fact shares many of your values. Tip number 2. Explore the other side's perspective. If we dismiss the perspectives of others as wrong or crazy, they won't be willing to work with us. Also, to resolve the issue, you will need to identify a solution in which both sides get some of their most important interests addressed. Trying to understand their point of view will enable you to identify their interests. Try this out. Challenge yourself to find the other person's or group's perspective. You can do this by listening to them, asking open-ended questions, and by challenging the assumptions you hold about them. Tip number 3. Talk about interests, not positions. In interest-based negotiations, negotiators strive to move from positions, what one side says they must have, to the underlying interests behind what they want. Ask yourself, why do they want the outcome they are demanding? As you work together, remember that sometimes a compromise is a good thing. However, sometimes the values underlying a public issue are so important that they can't be compromised. Because interests, unlike positions, are not mutually exclusive, we can develop solutions that integrate the interests of both groups. Tip number 4. Find the good in everyone. Most people, most of the time, do what they believe is best. Of course, people do things that are not kind, ethical, and productive. However, they generally do so out of a misguided attempt to solve a problem or because they're having a bad day, or for some other reason that is not that they are a terrible person with horrible motives. In order to solve a problem with someone, it is essential to find and connect with the goodness in them.